Hello everyone, welcome to Chef Paolo Cooks. Today we will be doing a Mississippi pot roast. This is a very simple recipe. It is, in terms of how much ingredients you will need, not very many. There's a couple key ones. Of course, you will need your chuck roast. This is a relatively inexpensive piece of beef. In terms of steaks and other stuff, this is definitely on the lower end. It's a pretty tough piece of meat, so you can't just like put it on a grill, make it medium rare. It's not going to be good that way. What you really want to do is roast it, braise it, low and slow. Make it take its time, and it will be there. Additionally, we will need, I would say, 1 onion, but my onions are small, so I'm using 2 little guys. It is what it is. We have some beef broth over here. The 2 main seasonings you will need, some of this au jus stuff, which means with sauce in French. Very, very good. As well as ranch seasoning. You can buy these anywhere. You can actually get these on Amazon too, so pretty convenient. And of course, pepperoncini, if I'm pronouncing that right. Banana onions, banana peppers, yeah, whatever they're called. We'll need that, as well as some black pepper. I would say always add salt and pepper whenever you season your meat. However, the au jus and the ranch has more than enough sodium in it that if you kind of add salt, it'll just be extra salty, and you don't really need to do that. So to get started, all we're gonna do is apply some pepper to both sides of the meat. It's pretty easy. I find that whenever we put this in the Dutch oven on the heat, the pepper kind of burns, but you want that. We're gonna put it on there and we're gonna kind of give it a crust. We're not trying to cook it all the way through. We just want it to be nice and dark. So we got one side, now we'll get the other. That's really it. So this recipe calls for some chopped onions. I'm going to show you guys how I like to do it for this recipe. I peeled them, I halved them. You're pretty much just going to want to cut them into kind of quarters, as such, like this. Essentially, whenever you are brining the onions, they're going to soften down and then become kind of tiny, become small. And so you don't really have to do an amazing job dicing them, or whatever it may be. It's fairly simple. I'm not doing the best job because I have a camera right in front of me, but you get the idea. It's very, very simple, just like that. And now you have all these little slices. I tend to just kind of take them apart like this, just to make the cooking process as easy as possible. You don't have to do this part. This is just kind of the love aspect of cooking, I guess. Whenever people ask, oh, I made it with love. This is kind of what that is. I'm just kind of taking the time, separating all the little layers of the onion, and this will just be added into the pot roast. Okay, so our meat is ready, our onions are ready. That is all the preparation that we have to do. This is a very simple recipe, everyone. In addition to this, you should have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. Fire up the heat and you're good to go. Okay, so we have the heat on, we have our Dutch oven, and all we're gonna do is add a little bit of olive oil, or any non-stick oil, or high smoke point oil that you have. Standard cooking procedure. Okay, now that our oil is nice and hot, we're gonna put in the star of the show. Meat goes in. This is on medium-high heat, closer to high. We are just trying to brown it to give it a nice crust. We're not trying to cook it right now. We just want to give it some color. That's why we're on high heat rather than low or medium. Get that char on there. So this part does get pretty messy. Obviously, the frying a nice piece of steak. Just gonna try to make sure we get all sides. This kind of crust I was seeing over here exactly what we're looking for. Over here you can see a bit more of it. We're just kind of working our way around, getting as much crust as possible. It is a little bit messy, but trust me, the flavor and the texture is 100% worth it. Alright, once we get the meat where we want it to go, and take it off, look at that crust. Beautiful. We're just gonna put it on a plate. So we get there, you see all this stuff over here? That's all gonna be called fond. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add our onions, let them cook up a little bit. This is gonna be very, very fast. So we're just gonna toss in whatever pieces of onion that we have. I did reduce the heat for this. I don't want it to just crisp up and burn right away. We toss the onions in. As you can see, they're very quickly browning. They're picking up some of the juices on the bottom. This part, you don't have to be too delicate, whatever. We're just kind of exposing the onions to some heat. Let them wither away a little bit. Soak it up. You're just having fun in there. After a little bit, I'm gonna come in with our beef broth. Once the broth is in, this is where you're gonna scrape all of that flavor on the bottom, the fond, off the bottom and into the sauce. First and foremost, this will add a bunch of flavor. As you can see, even around the walls, it's already cleaned itself up. This will add flavor, and it also kind of cleans up the Dutch oven a little bit. So whenever you're done eating, and it's time to dishwash, there's not going to be as much black and all that on the bottom of it. It just makes your life easier. It adds flavor. Why not? So once you add the liquid, you're just going to scrape away with your spatula, and the entire bottom will get cleaned up pretty easily and instantly. Alright, once we got that going for a little bit, we're going to come right back in with our meat. Get all those sauces in there. This is really the star of the show. We're going to add our pepperoncini. I find that a lot of the recipes, they call for half the jar, 3/4. I find the flavor profile to be the best if you just toss the whole thing in there. It may seem like much, but it will blend all in at the end. Trust me, all these flavors are gonna combine with each other, and it's gonna be a delicious meal. Once we get that in, we're gonna come in with our seasonings, whole bag of this, an equivalent amount of this. You can buy bags like this of this, but I just have this, so we're gonna work with that. Just gonna put it all in there. And then an equivalent amount of the ranch. This is why we didn't salt originally, just because there's just enough sodium in these that you don't need to add salt. It takes care of itself. Once that's all in there, I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit. Get everything around. We toss the lid on and into the oven at 350 degrees it goes. It'll take about 3.5 to 4 hours, and in that time you can do whatever you want. Check this guy out. Now we're gonna pair our Mississippi pot roast with some mashed potatoes. Here's how to make them. So here I have some peeled potatoes. I'm just gonna chop them up into pieces. And boil them. Pretty easy. Anyone can do this. I find that you should try to make your pieces all around the same size. Obviously, it's not possible to make each and every single one of them exactly the same, but we're gonna do our best. Like, look how small this little piece is gonna be compared to the thick edge. There's just not much we can do about that. But we ball. We just keep going forward. We now have the potatoes in the water over here. One little trick I like to do is add in some beef bouillon into the water. It kind of adds flavor. It makes it very good. I'm just going to toss in 2 of the little cubes. We're going to cover it, wait for it to start to boil, and kind of remove it once everything's fork tender. Okay, so it came up to a boil. We took the lid off. It took about 20 minutes or so. The real test to see if the potatoes are ready is you grab a fork and see if it goes right through. It's nice, fork tender, goes right through. That's how we know it's ready. Here we have our drained potatoes. I'm just gonna toss in a little bit of butter. Let it melt in there. Let it become good. After that, we're gonna get some Parmesan, and we're just gonna grate it right in there. You can grate however much Parmesan you want. It's really up to you. Once we're done grating the parm, I'm just gonna add some garlic. I am using garlic. Unfortunately, I thought I had garlic, but I do not, so the garlic can comes out. We're gonna toss in some light cream. You can always add more light cream throughout the process. If you want it to be nice and creamy, obviously, the more the merrier. A lot of people like to use heavy cream. I don't know. I feel as though I just prefer light cream. Less calories, I believe. Could be totally wrong, but I'm trying to be healthy over here. So kind of get the mashed potatoes to the texture that you like. That's pretty much it. We're done. All right, so now it's been 4 hours, about maybe a little bit more. So I'm gonna show you the end result of the meat. There we go. And the result is pretty much what you're looking for is, as a wise man once said, tenderism. As you can see, just from the tongs, it's just falling apart. And that's what we want. We're just gonna keep picking away at it and let it absorb all this beautiful sauce. This is just so much flavor. And it's just, it really is an amazing meal, guys. It's easy, inexpensive. Just look at that. Just falling apart. Here it is after mixing it up. It's just, guys, this is just so good, so flavorful. All right, so here's how we're gonna plate it. We have a bed of mashed potatoes. I'm just gonna grab some of this meat. Just put it on there. Just lay it on there, guys. Trust me, this is gonna be amazing. So good. We tossed on some parsley to make it a salad. Just look how good that looks, guys. All right, everyone. After all that, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to eat it, to try it. It's, I'm looking forward to this. It's nice and hot. It's so good, guys. This is one of the best things ever. It's winter time over here. It's cold. This is comforting. The people in Mississippi really know what they're doing, I guess. Who would have thought? It's just 10 out of 10. Amazing. Lost of words.